Yes, ma. The difference between creative creative writing.
Yeah, can you please?
Yes, creative writing is a writing that aims.
Mr. Mohammed, Mr. Mohammed, Mohammed,
Yes, ma.
Ma- yeah, please may I intervene? You have probably joined from two uh, connections, so there's an echo in your voice. I can't get what you're speaking.
Okay.
Just switch off the other microphone. Mute yourself on one of the systems. You've joined from two different IDs.
Okay.
Mr. Mohammed, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Please switch off one of your outputs, one
Okay.
of
No,
your microphones. And as we were talking about, can one of you outline the difference between the creative and non-creative writings? Because what I have been suggesting is that creative writing is something which involves a lot of imagination, which involves the intermingling of your emotions and feelings, your experiences to the facts. When we talk about non-creative writing, it is primarily the conveying of facts, the conveying of information. So for example, if somebody is writing for a news channel, or you are writing for media, which means the sole objective is to convey information, the sole objective is to convey the facts, convey an incident as and when it has happened, which means you are passing on the information, and now this information has to be passed in a very, very factual manner. This is known as non creative writing. But here we are going to develop the skill of uh, creative writing, which means when you a fact or a particular information, the art of intermingling the facts with your feelings, with your own experiences, to attempt. So intermingling imagination with fact, how do you do this? As I've been telling you, as a creative writer, you are supposed to maintain a record experiences. You record your emotions and is going to arouse some kind of impulse. It works as a stimulus. So when these impulses or these stimuli are being recorded, when you know, how does it happen? Now, for example, in a particular society. So if I ask you, we have Adam and we have Muhammad, right? Three of them. So if I ask each one of you to describe your experiences, anyone experience from your profession. We get into this. Adam, am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, you're audible. Yes,
Hi,
ma'am.
Adam. Am I audible? Yeah. All right. So can you describe? You said you wanted to. If I'm not wrong, in the last session you said you wanted to come up with some kind of a written record which you want to publish. So if I ask you, or you also wanted to, uh, make your society aware of the process of election and all that. So how do you All right, if I ask you to speak out probably 3 to 4 lines on the electoral system of your country, can you do that?
Yes, ma, I can.
Please speak, be comfortable. We're just trying a little exercise to come up with experiences. What I'm trying to do is, unless and until there's a active participation on your part, uh, creative writing ceases to be creative. So let us make it more creative.
Yeah. Uh,
All right,
structure of my
describe whatever
country.
you are comfortable. Even if you don't want
I
to
can
talk
say
about
if
the
I am
electoral system,
political.
whatever you makes you comfortable, just describe, huh?
Yeah. For the structure, I can see, though some people say politics is a bit Indian, but the political structure of our country needs to be restructured. What I mean here is that it needs some intellectual giant to engage in politics, to engage into the politics so as to bring
Adam, could you be a
about
little
solution.
louder because you're not at all audible?
I can't hear you. Say, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yeah, can you please repeat? Yeah, now, no, no, a little louder, little louder.
Okay, okay. Can you hear me now? Am I audible?
Yeah, better. Yeah, much better.
Okay. Okay. What I was saying is that based on the political ideas or structure of my country, I can say the politics in my country needs to be uh, structured by what I mean here is that if as long as we want the politics in our country, that is Nigeria, to be restructured, we need intellectual giants, those who are selfless. I mean, those who are not selfish in their desire, and those who are ready to give, to serve, not to rule, and not to be served. So the problem of my country is leadership. And the true leadership, we mean we have to engage into politics so as to bring about a lasting change. Am I audible?
No, the question is, see, the question is, we're trying to find out, we're also trying to see when you're talking about, uh, you spoke about the problem of leadership in your country, right?
I can't hear you. You are not audible, ma.
You
I can't
spoke
hear you.
about the problem of, I'm not audible. Okay. How about now? Hello, am I
Yeah,
audible?
yeah, now. Yeah, you're audible now.
No. Okay. So you were talking about the problem of leadership in your country. Now, how can you make it when you speak about this problem or when you write about this problem, let us concentrate in 2, 3 things. The number one and the most important thing is how do you make it authentic? Has to be an element of credibility to your information. Just think about it. We need to find out ways to make the information authentic and credible, the information that we are passing on to others, because we always want our target audience to have trust in the information that we are passing to them.
Yeah. Yeah, if I can say my target audience.
Second thing is what another the The second most important thing is, apart from trying to maintain the credibility of our information, we also need to maintain the fact that we do not mingle this information with our own emotions and feelings. Because what happens is, each information, each and every individual, like all of us, have different experiences in life. Do you agree? And these experiences contribute in the making of our own persona. So, for example, I, as a faculty, will react entirely different in a different fashion to a particular situation as compared to, if you compare me with probably one of the students present here, because I have different experience to comparing my experience with the experiences of one of you present here. So we all react to a particular situation
Allah wa aji.
based on our experiences, on our individual experiences. Do you get my point? So the core of
Yes, ma'am.
any writing depends on the experience of the writer. Now, why, when I suggest that every individual writer has to be somebody who is thoroughly read and widely read, because wide reading enlarges the horizon of your understanding. Because apart from interpreting your experiences, you also have to develop the art of conveying these experiences in a manner that they are interpreted by the target audience in exactly the same fashion in which you intend to convey. Your audience should be able to understand your emotions and feelings exactly in the same fashion. All right, Mr. Mohammed, if I ask you to, probably describe, maybe give, for example, if I say I belong to India, right? Now, if I say, can you please describe your country in 5 sentences? Can you do that for me? Can we do this exercise? Can you just speak?
Can you repeat the question?
Please
I
raise your
can't hear
hand.
you.
I want that. Am I audible now? Am I audible now?
Yeah. Yes, yes. Yes, you are.
Audible, madam.
I was trying to ask you is this country in 3 sentences. Can you please do that for me?
Madam, they're writing in chat box. I am not having a good transmission, especially counselor's end is not good. It is cracking. I think his
Yeah,
network is not good. I think, madam.
yeah, the network, there's
Mohammed.
some issue in the university. Uh,
Yeah. Oh, okay. Huh.
Yeah, even I read this message. What to do? Yeah, there's
No,
some
even from
network
their side also,
issue.
madam, in their uh, student side also, there is some network issue, it seems.
Yeah, I can't get. Yeah,
Correct,
I
correct.
can't get their voice because whatever they are saying.
Yes, madam. Yes.
Can we postpone
Ah,
this session? Not able to listen, and it's like the other way around. I can't get what they're speaking.
Adam.
Yeah.
Hello,
Yeah,
Am
Mohammed.
I am I am, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible now.
there is some network issue from madam side. Madam will join. Please wait. Mohammed,
yes, ma.
wait. There is some issue. Madam will join now.
Okay.
Both of you, please wait here only. Madam will rejoin. We will wait.
Okay. Adam.
Hello, Mohammed.
Have you seen my number? Have you seen my number?
Yes, I've just seen it.
Okay.
Yes, it is in the chat box. We received.
Okay.
Yes.
So you can reach me on this number.
Okay, I will use you. I will contact you. Do you do
Okay.
WhatsApp? Do you do WhatsApp?
Yes.
Am I
Okay, you do
audible
what?
now?
Ha, madam. Audible, madam.
All right. So can you please what we can do is, since there's a lot of network issue,
Yes, madam.
I try and shift my location, and in the meantime, can you just pen down some 10 sentences to talk about your country, and because this is going to be an exercise, and then probably we'll discuss that. So that will give me a break to kind of remend my internet connection. All right. I'll get back in another 5 minutes.
Madam Muhammad, Madam is asking you people.
Okay, ma'am.
Madam will get back to you by another.
Please write down 5 sentences to describe your country.
Okay, ma'am. We'll do it right now. Malam Muhammad. Malam Muhammad.
Adam,
Can you please repeat the question? I've just asked us to write
huh?
an
What?
They have asked us to write an exercise before they come back.
I didn't get the question.
Okay, I think they say we should write on send maybe at least 3 sentences describing our country to describe our country. But I don't know which
Three
aspect is
sentences.
it. Yeah, I don't know which aspect is it based on politics or just how the country is. They say three
Or
sentences
just the three sentences we should describe our
describe
country.
our. Yeah, of course. I think this is the question.
Okay. Have you
So
taken
let's
my
do it.
number?
Yes, I have taken your number. So now let's do the exercise before they come back.
Okay.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, madam, you are audible, madam.
Yeah, so please, have you done that exercise of writing those 10 sentences? Musa, Adam, Musa, Adam. Hello, Musa. Hello, Adam. Hello. Even if probably they are still in the process of writing, so let me talk about the essentials of writing. Uh, as we've been chalking it out, that there are certain differences we need to adhere. All right. So I got a written message from Adam. Adam, can we read out in call? Okay. Adam, can I read out? He says Nigeria is one of the largest and populous country in Africa, which consists of two main religions, Islam and Christianity, different cultures, tribes, and political factors. Wonderful. Now, what I'm trying to say is, see, when Musa describes his country, Nigeria, he says it is one of the largest and populous country, which means that there is a comparison. There is an element of relativity. You understand? Now, this relativity has to be supported to make it more authentic. So there has to be a fact which makes this relativity more authentic, more credible, more justifiable. So you have to justify the fact, because then only the author, the reader, your target audience, finds it easy to believe. Now he says there are two main religions. He says there are different cultures, different tribes, and different political factors, which means now he has experienced his country in terms of vividness, in terms of variety. And that is why he says that the country, the people living in Nigeria follow two different religions, one being Christianity and the other being Islam. He doesn't talk about any other religion. So probably what we infer, the information that we infer from when he talks about Islam and Christianity, he also talks about different cultures and tribes and political factors. So the information gathered from this piece of writing is that Nigeria is densely populated country. One, he says it is one of the largest country. Fine. He also says that the people living in Nigeria either follow Christianity or they are the followers of Islam. So, we get to know three facts. He also talks about the variety of cultures and the variety of tribes. Now, this is what I'm trying to emphasize is, because this is his reaction to the situations of his country, to what he observes about his country. Uh, Mustafa, Mustafa, yeah, can you please mute your microphone? Can you please mute yourself? Mustafa, Mr. Mustafa, am I audible?
I didn't get you. Yes, ma.
Mustafa, yeah, please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself.
Yes, ma, I hear you, ma.
Sorry? Please mute yourself. All right. So when we talk about the two different varieties of writing, one is creative, one is non-creative. The two different varieties of writing also have two different objectives and purposes. The purpose of to reveal, and whereas as contrasted to the purpose of non-creative writing, because the purpose of non-creative writing is to convey facts and emotions. Now, when you're conveying facts, mingling emotions, all right, it automatically takes the form of one of the genres of writing, be it poetry, drama, fiction, novel, etc. So here, primarily, you are mingling your emotions and feelings with the facts. Now, when you are mingling your feelings and emotions with the facts, what happens is simultaneously you are also banking upon your own experiences. You have these experiences, and based on these experiences, you are reacting to a particular situation. So, your experience to a particular fact is something that is the source of your narrative piece. You are narrating a particular idea, you are narrating a particular fact based on your experiences. I might react differently to, probably if there is an accident on the road, I might react differently, you might react differently, a young child might react entirely in a different fashion. So, this reaction varies from individual to individual. Now, your reaction is supported by your experiences. One, you it is also supported by your uh, what do you call it, by your exposure to facts. So one has to be widely read. It also um, matters a lot, your mental state, whether you are in harmony or in peace, also helps a lot to so what happens is, how do you react to a particular situation is the core that helps you uh, you know uh, build your narrative. Now when you're writing a poetry or writing a fiction, you are also dealing with the situations that surround you. So the economic situation, the social landscape, the political landscape, everything plays an important role. There are times when you have to understand the social and the political scenario of the landscape neighboring you, the landscape which you admire to be, because lot of imagination also plays an important role in expressing your experiences. So now third first is, yes, Musa, you've raised your,
Yes, ma. I just want to ask a question.
yeah, please.
Yeah, my question is that you say that creative writing is mostly based on facts. I mean, imagination. It's not.
Hmm.
It's based on imagination, which connects with our emotions. But
I Can you please repeat, Mustafa, please
you said
mute
that
yourself. Yeah.
creative writing is mostly and particularly deals with emotion. and the non-creative writing needs.
Adam, can you please type it? Type your, can you please write down your query, because the voice is breaking, so there's no continuity of sentence. I'm not able to understand what you're saying. Why don't
Okay,
you
okay,
jot
let
it
me do
down?
so.
Please pen it down, write it down. Yeah, I'll wait. I'll wait.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting, Musa. Adam Musa Tanko. I am waiting for your message. All right. So, in the meanwhile, you want me to erase some other query? As we were in important role, yeah. And as you said, all right. Now I've got the message from Musa. He says, wait a minute. He said only fact. Please, does that mean we can't blend the two in one? See, a very good question, very interesting question. We definitely can blend the two, which means the emotions can definitely blend or play with the facts. But the most important aspect is when you're conveying the information can definitely be conveyed with a little touch of emotion and feelings. But what happens is you cannot twist the fact as per your imagination or as per your appeal, because your emotions and feelings are going to be different from somebody else's emotions and feelings. So you cannot kind of uh, blend your emotions, or you cannot twist the facts, because the facts have to be conveyed with an amount of validity, with an amount of trust. There has to be certain amount of trust. Because what happens is, see, for example, you're writing for media, you're writing for news, then you're not expected to convey your emotions and feelings. You to not, there's a very fine line which divides the two. The non-creative writing will be conveying the facts. Now you can blend, but to a certain limit, to a certain extent. uh, See, what happens is a very good question, because Musa says, is a writer at wrong to put emotions in non-creative writing when presenting his fact, or he should stick to presenting his facts only? it again varies with the concept of varying audience. If you are conveying, see what happens is in any kind of writing, the most important fact is the credibility. The entire perspective or the entire role of you as a writer or you as an author is that you are conveying certain information. For example, if you are a news reader and there's some international information, some international fact that you want to convey to your audience, you cannot not convey the fact. You know, if probably an accident occurs on the road, you will say that there were two, probably a bus and a car. It was a headstrong collision. People were taken to some emergency hospital. So now you're conveying the facts. You understand? But there are certain facts which can definitely, where the emotions and feelings can intermingle, and there is a role of role play of your emotions. So I suppose I'm clear, Musa. See, there's nothing wrong to put emotions in non-creative writing. But the fact,
Okay.
so I suppose I'm clear, Adam.
Yes, ma'am. You're clear. Understood.
You also have to keep in mind the various target audience, because you are encoding the information which is being decoded at the other end. And this information is being transmitted by different medium. Now, what are the mediums here? It could be a poetry, it could be a prose, it could be a newspaper, it could be a television channel, etc., etc. Now, see, when you're writing a poetry, you also need to understand the basics of poetry. How do you make your poetry more interesting? How do you make it more stimulating? And also, the most important thing is, how do you make the interest of the reader? I mean, how do you retain? How do you retain the interest of the target audience? Why does one poet become, or one writer become, more popular as compared to others? So what is important is, how do you make any piece of writing, any piece of communication more effective? Which means, if it is effective, then only you're going to retain the interest of your reader. Musa probably has raised a question as to what is the difference between poetry and prose. See, in terms of, if you talk about the basic difference between poetry and prose, is something that rhymes, something that rejuvenates with music, something that has a melody, something which makes you feel, which you feel has some kind of uh, rhythm to it, is called poetry. And prose is something which is very, very straightforward, which is very, very simple, very clear, very precise. Now, prose, when it takes the form of fiction, when it takes the form of story, is also imaginative. It also has the element of imagination. But when there is a certain heightened imagination, it becomes poetry. Prose is much more direct. Poetry can also be direct, but the history of the various nuances that are involved in writing poetry are much more to be concentrated on, are much more difficult to understand as compared to while writing prose. The prose, I would say, is more direct. It observes more economy of using words. It is more precise. It conveys, you know, uh, see, have you heard a term called reading between the lines? So when you're talking, when you're writing prose, there's less scope as compared to poetry to adapt this mechanism of reading between the lines. Poetry is open to numerous interpretations. And poetry, if I quote Wordsworth, he says poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful emotions. Now there are two, three things involved here. It is spontaneous. It is also the overflowing, and overflowing of what? Overflowing of emotions that are powerful. Spontaneous, you observe a reaction. You are overflowed with emotions. You are filled with emotions. And when this overflowing of emotions, or these overflowing emotions take the form of writing, it becomes poetry. So poetry is the spontaneous overflow of emotions. These emotions, when recollected in tranquility, become poetry. So recollected in tranquility, there's a spontaneous overflow. You reacted to a particular situation, you reacted to a particular fact, and there's a lot of emotional response to it. They've created a stimuli in your system, and probably now. But these emotions, there are I would say an n number of emotions that are the product of this spontaneous reaction. Now, out of these n number of emotions, there are certain emotions or certain feelings or certain reactions which stay with you, which continue with you, which do not die with time. Now, so when Wordsworth says these emotions recollected in tranquility, so when you are at peace with yourself, when you are in your comfort zone, there are a few of these emotions go on hitting you, go on, striking you again and again. They keep on coming to your head again and again. So these emotions, when recollected in tranquility, which means out of the n number of emotions to which you have reacted, there are certain emotions and certain feelings which which come back to you when you are in your comfort zone, when you're now, these emotions compel you to react and write. So when you another important message that people the renowned poets give is the poetry again has to be simple. Poetry definitely observes certain set rules and norms, though they are being not so seriously observed in modern times. There have been different ages when these rules have been diluted. So now it again depends on the writer, on the author, or I should say precisely the poet, what all set norms and rules you plan to observe. What kind of poetry are you going to write? So that now, when it comes to poetry, you also have to understand the various figures of the various poetic devices like similes and metaphors and alliteration and lot of things. The meter, the rhythm, the rhyme scheme, uh, which are used in writing poetry. Whether you're going to use them or not is a different case, but you definitely need to understand. So I suppose this is clear, the difference between prose and poetry. Yes, Mr. Mohammed, you've raised your hand. Any doubt?
Yes,
Have you uh, did you write that paragraph which talks about your country?
yes, ma'am.
All right, can I have it?
Yes, ma'am. Nigeria, my country, is the largest um, uh, is the largest populous country, or the populous country in Africa, and the largest
Mm-hmm.
democracy in Africa, which is
Mm-hmm.
which is the study has shown that Nigeria in the very near future will be the third largest democracy in the world, followed uh, your country, India, and America. Another thing is that Nigeria is one of the seventh ranking country in the OPEC country, in the oil producing countries.
Sorry, can you please repeat the second sentence? I didn't get it. Nigeria is.
Nigeria is the in the position of is in the 7 positions in the OPEC oil producing countries. Nigeria is the 7th. So it is the one of the uh, largest oil producing country in the world.
All right. That's interesting. Mhm. Anything else?
Yes, that is the
All right. Now, so supposedly, these are the facts that you've conveyed. The only emotional aspect that is added to the fact is you say it is the largest. You said it is the largest. It is the most densely populated country in the entire African continent. You also mentioned that it is the largest oil producing country in the world. Correct? Now, these are 2 facts that you've conveyed. Now, can we also attempt to write a dialogue?
dialogue.
Can all of you write
Hello?
a dialogue which talks about your country? You understand what is a dialogue? Yeah.
Yes,
Do you
yes,
understand what is a
conversation.
dialogue? Communication.
Yes, conversation.
Yeah. Any communication
Conversation.
that takes place.
Yes, suppose let me converse with the Musa. Musa,
Sorry?
let's say, I say dialogue is a conversation, the speech between 2 or more peoples. That is dialogue. So let's say I have
Dialogue to each
a
other. So
person.
let's say Musa and Muhammad are talking to each other. Can you frame a dialogue which talks about
Yes.
your country? Because both of you belong to Nigeria. So let me know about Nigeria. How do you talk about Nigeria in the form of a dialogue? Let us do this exercise. Adam, please unmute yourself. Musa, unmute yourself. We can't get your voice.
Like written or oral.
Musa? Please unmute yourself. All right. Suppose, all right, the 2 of you are not comfortable communicating with yourself. So now, if I say, which part of Nigeria do you belong to? Yeah, Mr. Muhammad Garba, you've raised your hand.
Yes. Which part? Are you asking me
Yeah,
which part of Nigeria I come from?
yeah, I'm asking you, which part of Nigeria do you come from?
I come from the northern Nigeria, Kano State. A state from the northern.
Can you spell it for me? Can you please spell it for me?
The state, my state, is
Yeah,
Kano.
Kano.
Kano. Yes, ma. Yes, ma.
Kano.
Kano.
Okay, wonderful,
Kano State.
wonderful. So if I say, where is Kano exactly located in Nigeria?
Yes, in the northern part of Nigeria.
All right, let us stop. Let us begin like this. What is the capital of Nigeria? See, I am a layman. I do not understand. So how do you begin a dialogue? What is the capital of Nigeria?
Abuja.
Yeah,
The
Muhammad.
capital
Yeah,
of
Mr.
Nigeria is
Muhammad.
Abuja. Yeah. Nah, yes, ma'am.
Can yeah, what is the capital of your country, Nigeria?
The capital of Nigeria is Abuja. The capital of
Abuja
Nigeria, yes,
is ABU.
JA.
Right, Abuja.
AUBJ.
Now,
Hmm.
AUBJA, Abuja. Correct.
Ye-
See, now
Yes,
what we are learning in creative writing is how do you convey your ideas in a very authentic manner, and also in a very convincing manner, so that the target audience finds it easy to interpret and understand. As a part of a project, I've been asking you, what are you planning to write as a part of your project? Please let me
I
know.
have not yet.
Please let me know in the comment section. Are you planning to write a short story? Are you planning to write a set of poetry? What are you planning to write?
Prose.
Prose.
I intend
All
to
right.
write. Yeah.
All right. You intend to write prose. Now, what is going to be? What is the subject matter, or what is the theme that you choose to write?
Okay. I, I am still considering the topic. I have not yet decided, but I specifically want to write a prose.
You specifically want to write a prose.
Hmm.
Uh, all right, which means you're planning to convey facts, because prose is going to be simple, direct, precise,
No,
objective.
it can be a fiction or non-fiction.
That's what
So I
that's
want
what
to
I'm
write.
trying. That's what I'm asking you to. That's what I'm trying. I'm asking you to. Tell me. Are you planning to write a fiction? Or are you planning a short
Yes,
story?
yes,
All right.
yes, ma'am.
So, what kind of short story are you planning? See, this course on creative writing is primarily aiming to develop the skills in writing. So it has to be a two-way process. Both the student also has to be actively participating in the entire process. Then only you're going to develop these skills. It's not something that I come and give you a lecture and go away. It has to be more participatory, more inclusive on your part as well, right?
Okay, yes.
So that is what I'm trying to. What are you planning to write?
Well, I want to my plan. I want to write on how I am going to, as I said the last session, that my intention is just to write about to write how to educate my people, especially on the social matter regarding to uh, the, the married life. There are some
All right. So
problems. We
when it
are
comes
facing
to
problems here in our family.
all right. So you plan to write on certain social issues, right?
Yes, yes,
Now, if
especially
I
married
ask
life.
you, can you underline some 5 social issues that you want to target, or that you aim to write on?
Yes, there's one, as
Can
I
you
say,
identify some five
one,
social issues?
yes, there's one on the married life, one other on the political,
One on?
because yes, and the one is to educate people concerning going to school. How people,
All
especially
right.
we
So you
have
want
a lot
to.
of children that are not going to school here in our part. They roam about the street hawking. So I want to write to enlighten them, to show them the importance of going to school. These are some of the
All right.
areas that yes,
I agree. So, as you suggested, you want to, probably make children aware of the benefits of going to school,
yes,
right?
yes, ma'am.
All right. How do you plan to do that?
Well, uh, I will try to show them the importance of education, showing them, telling them that by showing the example, the people who have acquired education, how their life has improved, and in comparison to those who have not gone to school,
So,
they will,
I totally agree. I totally agree. I again come back to the fact that you say you're going to suggest or you're going to make your students aware of the virtues of going to school. Now, what is going to
yes,
be the format of your writing? Are you going to write a poetry for them? Are you going to write a story for them? Or what? What is going to be the structure? Because, see, the four important or the outlining features of any creative writing is the, the structure, the style, the form, and the subject matter.
okay.
So now we've agreed upon the subject matter, right? Musa, do you agree with me? We've all agreed upon a particular subject matter that we want to make children aware of the benefits of studying in school, right? Now, this is the subject matter that we all choose to or we all plan to write. Now, what are the different modes or the different structures that you intend to adapt? I want answers from all of you. Mustafa?
The structure.
Yeah, what I mean is, are you going to write a poetry, or are you going to write a short story, or you're going to write a what structure are you planning to write?
It will be a short story,
It will
especially
be a
as
short story.
yes,
It
because
will
you
be
see
a
they are
short
the
story.
children.
Now,
Because the
now
children,
when you say it will be a short story, which means, what do you think there has to be in a story? What are the basic qualities of a story? Now, if you make your story complicated, do you think you are going to make your audience read the story? See, one purpose of any writer is to reach out to a larger reader, larger audience. And how do you do that? How do you do that? When you write a story, it has to be very, very simple, convincing, lucid, credible. They need to believe. Even if you add a tinge of imagination to your story, the students or the reader needs to believe in your story. And that is how you're going to retain the interest. That is the only way you're going to stimulate the interest of your reader. So, when you plan to write a story, what do you think is the first? We've already chosen a certain uh, theme or the content or the subject matter of your story. Now, what else do you plan to do with your story?
pardon,
Yes.
I say come again, please.
Sorry,
Come again. I didn't get that question.
you didn't get your question. Okay. What I'm trying to say is you plan to write a story, right?
Yes.
The first thing that we had to decide was the content of the story or the subject matter of the story. That you've decided you want to write a story conveying the importance of going to school. Now, the second important thing is how do you plan to make your story interesting?
As I said, to make the story interesting, uh, you see, there will be some way of telling the story, uh, how, especially as is the story will be targeted to the children. So
All
it
right. So
should
what?
be,
So see how spontaneously you yourself are paving the way, which means you have to keep in mind the target audience. If you're writing a story for children, whether you're
yes,
writing a story for the adults, whether you're writing the story for the parents. Now, you yourself suggested that you're writing the story for children, which means the very first step was what is going to be the content or the subject matter of your story, who is going to be the target audience. Now, keeping in mind the target audience, the language has to be chosen. The experiences have to be chosen. Now,
okay,
the way, any a way of writing which you're going to adapt, any medium of writing, something which you want to explain to a child has to be more simple as compared to when you're explaining to the parents.
okay.
So what do you think is going to be the difference while you're trying to convince a child as compared to trying to convince a parent? Musa?
Okay, as you have just suggested, the language should be simple,
Yeah,
uh, in a way that the children and the there will be some illustration in the books how to
wonderful.
cap-
Mm,
how to capture the minds, the interest of the children by seeing some pictures that will also help them to understand the content of the story more easily.
wonderful.
I think that is what I
If
should do.
I say, I have a suggestion to add to this. If you choose and pick up examples from their surroundings, something that they are more familiar to, something that they see in their day-to-day life, something which they enjoy,
Okay.
don't you think it is going to interest the children more?
Of course, it should. It will. It
See,
will.
if I have to talk about the landscape of a country, I would definitely, when I'm speaking to somebody from Nigeria, I need to understand the topography of your country and talk about the various landscapes of Nigeria, isn't it?
Okay.
Then it becomes more easier for you to understand.
Yes, sir. Yes,
If
ma'am.
I talk about if I start, if I'm telling, probably if I'm trying to make a child understand the climatic characters or the features of a country or of climatic, what is, probably a degree of, if I say it is winters in Nigeria, what do you generally expect? What kind of temperature do you expect there? See, it is winters right here in Delhi, right? So we're
Yes.
experiencing as low as 6 degrees or 5 degrees uh, of temperature,
Yes, ma'am.
which could be which could be a relatively a pleasant winter for somebody living in the extremes climatic conditions. Somebody who experiences temperatures of minus degree centigrades finds that a temperature of 4 degree, 5 degree is a pleasant atmosphere, right?
Yes, ma'am.
When it comes to summers in Delhi, we have extreme severe hot temperatures rising up to 42, 45 degrees of heat. So the element of contextualizing, the element of localizing your facts,
Okay.
you understand? The element of
Yes,
localizing the facts become important.
yes, ma'am.
Understood?
That is why I
The
say
the
I
the
should use illustration of pictures that will show the environment
see
itself,
that definitely
which is
is
the
one
familiar, which
aspect.
the children are familiar with.
That definitely is one aspect. But another important aspect is how do you localize? You also are writing words. Pictures are going to be secondary support system to your content.
Okay, okay,
Pictures are not the primary content. The primary content is something that you're going to talk, that you're talking. So
I see.
you have to pick up. That's what I'm saying. You have to pick up the local situations, the local the idea of localizing your content, the idea of talking about the things that the people or your target audience is familiar to becomes important, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So to summarize, it has to be simple, it has to be direct, it has to be precise, and also localized, something that the audience is familiar to.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, anything else that you can think about, Musa? I want an answer from you, please, this time.
And
What else can you think of? All right, so let us do this small, simple exercise. Now, you want to write a story. Musa, what do you want to write? A poetry? He says he wants to write a poetry. Yeah, Mr. Mohammed, do you want to say something?
about what, ma'am?
Pardon?
You see, I want to say something. I say about what? Say something about what?
Do you want to add to the idea of writing story?
Okay.
Anything else that you want to talk about story, writing story?
Okay, just as you said, when I write a story, I should try as best as possible to write it in a simple, direct, in a way that my target audience will understand what I write about.
All right, so can we do this small exercise of how to begin a story? There are certain important do's and don'ts which we need to understand. How do you begin a story, or how do you begin any writing, any piece of a written narrative? and how do you end a story, or how do you end uh, a written composition? How do you do that?
Okay.
Just
As
think
a,
about
as
it,
a,
just ponder about it, because see, what I want is it should come on your own, because you've been a writer, you have joined this course because you want to be into media, you want to be into journalism, you want to make people aware. So how do you intend to make people aware? What how do you open your story to make it more interesting?
okay. To make my story interesting,
Yeah, how do you make your story more interesting? How do you begin your
uh,
story to make it more interesting? Because the very first paragraph that you're going to write is going to make it more interesting. Adam is here. Musa, can we have your opinion, please?
Like how to start my story is okay. How to open my story is to first of all
Correct.
lay a very attractive paragraph that will serve
Like,
as also as
can you
introduction.
can you must have read a lot of stories by now, right? All of you. So can I
Okay.
have an exam? There are times when a particular story stays in your mind, stays in your head. Do you remember any story?
Yeah, I can remember a day before my last exams at school, there was an incident happened. I could remember the incident.
Yeah, can you please repeat?
I could remember one incident that happened before a last day before my final exams.
All right. Let's all enjoy the incident.
So uh, the last day before my final exams, that is on the night. Yeah, my audible. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Musa, I'm waiting for you.
Yeah. Uh,
You were
let me.
narrating an incident from your school days. Yeah. Mhm.
Yes. Sometimes by opening a story, you can just ask a question or you can just imagine something. Now, let me start narrating the incident. For example, I
Right.
named the story as A Night Before My Last Exam. This is the title of my story or the content. And now, the content or the body of the story contains that I had never imagined to walk to the office after the long, tedious queue of collecting school ID cards. But that night seemed disappointing to me because I had to read for my last exams in order to pass it with stellar grades. This is my opening paragraph of the story. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Now, the rest of you in the class, can you imagine a different opening to this story? Yeah, Mr. Muhammad. Can you imagine a
ma'am.
different opening to this story? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. We can open our story by describing the setting or the place where the action of the story took place. Like an example of a story to the children, we can tell the story by, let's say, once upon a time.
Ya guri ina lecture ne yasa ban baka dama muka gaisa ba ma. Rabi ɗazu ya zo kuma ya tafi. Ya zo yake tambaya na wuta. Amma yanzu ban ma ina yi ba.
Can you please repeat? Your voice went off in between. Yeah, Mr. Muhammad, can you please repeat?
Yes, I say to cultivate the mind of of the reader, especially as I say I will write for the children. So I will start by describing the setting, that is the place where the action of the story took place. Like
That's
I will
interesting.
begin by, let's say, once upon a time, uh, there lived a king in a jungle, a king of the animal, let's say a lion in the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how to captivate the mind of the children when you describe the setting, the place,
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm-hmm.
is known to them, by telling them
Mm-hmm.
there live a king in the jungle. The king is, let's say, a lion,
Mm.
where there are wild animals and so on.
So you mean to say, instead of talking about the lion, you would prefer to begin your story saying that there lived a king of the jungle, right? Musa has also sent me a draft. We can all read that. It is in the message. It says, a night before my last exam. He says, how could I feel going to the security office for a case of stealing? I had never imagined to walk to the office after the long, tedious queue of collecting school ID cards. But that night seemed disappointing to me because I had to read for my last examination in order to pass it with stellar grades. Now, this is one way of beginning your story, right? Now, what we can do today is we can also let us all think of different ways. It is a beautiful sample, Musa. I must congratulate you on giving this beautiful imaginative way of beginning your story. But simultaneously, we all need to understand that apart from beginning your story, what are the different ways? How do you make your story? How do you catch the interest of the reader? How do you do that? How do you make it more interesting? How do you catch the attention of the reader? Can you suggest? Is it tiring? Are you all tired? All right, let us do an exercise. When we meet for the next session or the next class, let us just try and write a paragraph of your own story. So the very first thing is choose the subject matter or the theme of your story. It can also be a poetry or a short story or a novel or a fiction or whatever. So which means decide upon the structure or the genre of your content. Please also try and choose the title, and also one of you please write a paragraph of how you plan to begin your writing, whether it be a story or poetry or anything. So because when we have it in written form in front of us, then it becomes easy for us to analyze it. And then probably I will be dealing on the varieties of openings and the varieties of endings. Is that fine?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So let us part for now. Let us stop here. Be ready with your openings. We're going to discuss in detail the kind of openings and why is a particular opening more suitable for the genre that you are attempting to write. Is that okay? Clear?
Yes,
Clear,
ma'am.
Musa?
Yes, ma'am.
Chalo.
It's
So
clear.
goodbye for now.
Thank you, ma'am. We really
Thank you,
appreciate.
ma'am.
All right. It's clear. Are you finding it?
Yes, very interesting, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
We are learning a lot, ma'am. We really appreciate.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
See you in the next
Mohammed
session.
Musa, you know
Now,
no our
yes,
schedule.
thank you.
You join day after tomorrow. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening.